Welcome to this episode of Blended, Blessed, and Always a Mess. I'm Aric.
And I'm Angie.
We are married with a ton of kids.
We have 6 kids total. He has 3 and I have 3.
My name's Hallie and I love riding horses.
I'm Lexi and I love agriculture.
My name's Carter and I love eating.
My name's Chase and I love lifting weights.
My name's Summer and I love spending my parents' money.
I'm Dane and I love baseball.
Our show is about our blended, blessed, and always a mess life. And our hope is if you find yourself in the same situation we are in, that by sharing our story, all the fun and all the mess, the challenges we are experiencing, it will give you some inspirations, laughs, and community, knowing you are not alone in this mess.
We appreciate you spending time with us. Let's dive in.
This episode of Blended, Blessed, and Always a Mess is brought to you by Club Car Wash, where Angie and I love to have clean vehicles. And we travel so much with kids' sports that it's nice to have Club Car Washes all over. Whether we're in Kansas City or St. Louis, we've even used them in Illinois and Omaha, Nebraska. And so if you would like to have a clean vehicle year-round, now is the best time to sign up for a membership. It's their best offer of the year for new members only, 50% off for 3 months on any membership. Now, this offer ends February 28th. So you got to get in before then. You can go to clubcarwash.com/Angie. clubcarwash.com/Angie. Click on that and save up to 50% off for 3 months on any new membership to Club Car Wash. Be sure to tell them Aric and Angie were talking about them. I'm Blended, Blessed, and Always a Mess. Welcome to this week's episode of Blended, Blessed, and Always a Mess. This is the sickly edition where we are powering through. We probably don't look great if you're watching the YouTube stream. And it's just one of those things where several days ago, Angie got sick. Then I followed suit. Hers has been worse than mine. And I was talking to my sister, Lauren. Her and her husband had it as well. And he had it a lot worse than she did. So maybe it's just the Brimmer gene is fighting it better than other people's. I don't know. I say that I'll probably be deathly ill tomorrow, but we're giving it a go today. It's either a flu or a COVID or a pneumonia, some kind of mix. We're not really sure, but
It's something. Knock on wood. I don't get sick very often, but
no, neither one of us.
This round has knocked me down for sure. I was in bed all day Thursday. Woke up super dizzy. Aric had to literally help me out of bed.
To the bathroom and back, to which I joked, that's the best slow dance we've had in a long time.
Yeah, and I died laughing. It was so funny. It was so funny.
And then I got sick the next day. That was my punishment, I think.
It's called karma.
Yeah.
But Friday, I made it to the couch, so that was good.
Yeah.
That was good. But yeah, it's been a battle. So it's Saturday in the 11th hour, and we're recording a podcast, and then I'm going to crawl back in bed.
Well, you wrote something called The Battle, so it is fitting if you would like to share that.
Trying to think about the topic for today, and I'm like, well, for one, every day is a battle, every day, but some weeks you just battle more than others. And I don't even remember why it was top of mind when I wrote this. I'd post on social media, but I thought it'd be relevant just to share it here.
Well, why don't you read it for us if you're able? I know we're both sound amazing.
All right.
Sniffle.
It's called The Battle. Day after day, step after step, the battle for stillness in every breath. Every corner turned is another fear to face. The pool of children here and a child in another place. Day after day, week after week, the battle to find joy I seek. I pray for my vision to be clear because I do not know the face in the mirror. Day after day, year after year, the battle for this ache to disappear. I wake up and damn, it's still there. You can't imagine how much this is to bear. Day after day, night after night, the battle for purpose is in my sight. I pray for strength and an armor of metal. My fight, my right, no way I will settle. And yeah, I need to be reminded of that just to get my butt out of bed. It's like
when you're feeling well. You're feeling well, you need that reminder. Yeah.
On top of it being sick, but it's just life and just this whole grief journey and just anything that you're facing. It's such a personal fight. Everyone has their reasons why they have the fight in them, what battle they're fighting and their purpose behind it. And I think it's interesting what fuels people. Everyone has a reason why they're fueled to fight some sort of battle that they have going on. Mine's always my kids, and for women, because I feel like there's definitely been times where voices are not heard, and you have to fight harder. What's your
I've
battle?
learned what mine is. Yeah, I'm glad you asked. I have learned over the last 6 months. Mine is, one, I've had this deep longing desire to feel love, to feel loved by someone in my entire life. And I've learned that can only really be fulfilled with Jesus. But yet I still long for that for my own family, to provide that to you and the children. And then from that point, then to other people that are hurting and that are in need. And so it comes back to what we talk about all the time about going and being with the people that hurt. And a lot of people are hurting because they don't feel love. They don't feel like they're being seen or heard. And so that's become something that I've really tried to breathe and pray about over the last several months, as I've realized, for years, I've let the pain of not feeling loved affect many things that I've done and how I've responded to certain situations. And so, that would be it for me. And I know here we are. Valentine's Day was this week, a day of love, as they say.
Woo,
but
you felt it. You felt it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I would just say it's a day of, for some people, a lot of sadness, right? And for some people who thought they were in love at the start of the day, not so much. And I'm not saying that for us. I'm saying that for some people who go through a breakup. I made comments on the radio like, I hope you have a great Valentine's Day, because if you don't, it's going to be a long weekend for somebody in the relationship. And I just think that everybody is longing for something. And the only way we can truly feel loved is through Jesus, a relationship with him, because you can't personally fulfill all of my desires. And yes, you can be a part of that. You can, as a spouse, you can help to fill my cup. I can help to fill your cup. We can help to fill our kids' cups, but we're all going to let each other down, because ultimately we are sinners in need of grace. And so I just think that I'm rambling enough, but love is what my fight would be for, my battle.
No, I get that. That makes sense. You mentioned praying, power of prayer. Last week. We had a little debrief from church. We always do, right? Like after the sermon, we leave church and we're talking about like what we learned. And sometimes I'm like, my cup's filled. And other times I'm irritated.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And I think that's all okay, because you're learning. I think we mentioned before in our podcast that we're in this like 8-week sermon series on prayer. And last week it was about like, do you believe in the power of prayer? And so Keith talked about several examples in the Bible, and then just some personal examples where, someone was praying for him to become a Christian, and eventually he did in college. And, it was all about like praying and asking God for what you need. It was good. It was good.
Well, that's good. And the whole time that you're thinking about like what happens when prayers aren't answered.
Yes.
At least I was.
Yeah. So then at the end, he was like, but what happens if you don't get the answer? And that will be for next week. I'm like, okay. And everyone kind of laughed, because everyone's waiting for that, because no way does God answer every prayer, right? It'd be like the Bruce Almighty.
Bruce Almighty. Gosh, that was a funny movie.
I
liked that movie and the Evan Almighty movies. Yes. They were both really good. And now our friend Dave, who we've had on the podcast, he has to go in and talk about prayers unanswered tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to it.
I can't wait. I should sit in the front row. I think I'm going to sit in the front row and be like, please, I hope you give me the answer.
You guys getting the snark yet? Are you getting the snark if you're listening? Well, that also ties in. We're going to talk about The Shack later, and that ties into the movie The Shack too. Like, you don't always get the answer that you're looking for. And I just think, yes, coming home, I felt the snark as I asked you like what you took from it. So I have learned that like if we are driving home getting snarky, I should just not chime in. I should just listen at that point. Those are things that I have learned, especially in the last several months, is don't try to chime in back. Don't try to be helpful, air quotations, because I'm not going to be.
Don't joke when I can't walk because I'm so dizzy and you're trying to help me go to the bathroom.
I would
Oh.
still say that was funny. But to me,
Yes.
yeah, I've just learned to be quiet and let you get it off
I
your
didn't
chest.
get mad at you.
You weren't mad at me, but I knew
No.
if I chimed in there, it was a good time for me to just listen, is what I learned.
Well,
I've
I
learned that
just
over
like to
time.
analyze stuff. I like to
Yeah.
analyze stuff. So, from my own experience of God saying no to me,
Sure. It's a pretty big no, so it makes sense that it would be heavy.
in so many aspects of my life, I mean, I begged him to take this weight off of my shoulders and let Hallie see what we saw, or let us see what Hallie saw, and I had this vision, I think most parents do for your kids, that you want them to feel confident and feel loved and valued and just thrive in a healthy relationship. And I feel like when I prayed for that, he said yes to my prayers, but not in a way that I would ever have expected, And so then it's like, okay, well, I guess he's going to let everybody see what we see, someone that didn't value her enough to make sure that a gun wasn't pointed at her face, and loved her enough to not pull the trigger. But he is, allowing Hallie to thrive and to be loved and valued and know her worth in a relationship with him in heaven, but like he said no to me and this army of people praying that the outcome was wrong, that the doctors were wrong, that she would be healed and would live, that we could actually bring her home from the hospital. I mean, that's like the hardest no and the hardest thing to accept. So, when you talk about praying and ask for certain things, God will answer. I get PTSD from that. And yes, I do get a little snarky, like, oh, really? Okay, sure. Let me try this again and see how it works. And it's not that I don't believe in God. I believe in God and I believe Hallie's in heaven, but I just don't, the way my analytical brain works, I don't pray for anything specific anymore, because why would I? It's this like, okay, ask for it, but God has a plan for you and God knows what's best. And why would I ask for something specific versus just praying for his support and his guidance and protection? And the same thing for my family. I mean, that's the part, like, I can't even ask. I just don't even feel like at this point, maybe I'll over time change and evolve in that. But like right now, I can only just pray for that and just trust that he's going to take care of it and guide me, and whatever that looks like, because I prayed for something specific and it didn't happen.
I'm going to skip over your notes briefly down to the part where we watched the movie The Shack last night, which was a recommendation from one of the mamas in your grief group. And I had seen that movie years ago, and I thought about it shortly after Hallie died, and I knew that it was not time for you to watch that movie because you have to be farther down in a journey before you can watch The Shack, I think. And so one of the things I have really tried to work on in the last several months in the counseling that I've been doing and the prayers that I've been praying is not to try to tell you what you need to do, not to try to fix you or any of those things. I watch you and I study you and I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying about the prayer. And then I watch a movie like The Shack last night, and there's a lot of similarities there for you, right? Your child is taken in a way that is awful, and it feels like the person that did it should be punished, and all kinds of things that are very similar in that regard. And when you said to me driving home last week from church, just why would I ask for anything specific? I've done that. Then I think about 2 weeks ago, the sermon where they talked about, Jesus wants us to be his friend. So I've started praying for all of you, not just you, but all of our kids daily in the last several months. And they're very specific prayers. And I pray often for you that you'll be able to move deeper into relationship with Jesus and trusting him. I feel like, I could be wrong, you could say that I'm wrong, is that you did pray a certain prayer and he answered it in a way that wasn't exactly what any of us meant at all. It was it's harder than normal. And so I think that rightly so, there's a bit of a blockage where you're like, okay, I'm going to pray to you to an extent, but I'm not going to go into full relationship with you because I have concerns over what you did the last time. I mean, is that fair at all?
I don't think that's fair.
You don't think so? You don't think? Okay.
No, I feel like it's the opposite almost of like, I'm just trusting whatever happens. Like I'm not in control. And
that's fair.
So I talk to God. I talk to Hallie all the time. I'm just trusting him because I have no other choice. I have no other option, right? I have to 100% trust him. And so in that aspect, I just ask for him to protect our family and to guide us. And that's it. Because if you trust him and he has, a greater plan for you, he knows all, right? You will find refuge in him, all the things. Then who am I to ask for a certain thing?
Yeah.
Who am I to ask for a certain thing? So it's actually, I think, deeper than what
interesting
you're even seeing, because
and why I'm not just chiming in the moment, because clearly I'm not even getting that right. But yeah, for sure. But I am still praying for you in that regard, and all of our kids. That
I'll take all the prayers.
And myself, that we would have deeper relationship, that our eyes would be open to the things that God's asking for us. And I did like what Keith said last week about when we do pray for specific things, God does take delight in when he's able to answer those prayers. He just isn't able to do it all the time.
Well, and I think that's why I think the sermons are great. Like, I'm definitely not dissing them at all. Like, I think they're great because they're thought provoking. Like, that's what you want. And it does make me think, about all aspects of life and praying and my relationship with God, all the things. But yes, that movie, it was hard to watch. Well, for one, anytime kids are hurting, it's awful. Like, it's just breaks my heart. So that's kind of how it starts off. Okay. And then this dad is going through this massive grief journey, and he ends up, spending a weekend with God, basically, and has to face what happened to his child and forgive. And through the tears and the coughs all night.
Yeah.
It's so hard because I know that pain that they try to portray in the movie, and like all the emotions of why. I mean, he was so angry. Like, why did you, if you're a good God, then why did you let this happen to my child? How could you let it happen? And, and then he's, he also, as a dad, is like so much guilt. And I mean, it resonates with me. There's not one mom that's lost a child that doesn't feel some level of guilt. I should have done more. I should have said no when she wanted to move in. And then it's like it walks you through all of that in this movie of the anger at God and God basically saying, but I was there with you through the whole thing. I'm there through all of it. Like, I can't control what happens. But then, his argument is you could have stopped it, Everyone asks those questions.
I did love the part where God in the movie says, but I was with her the whole time. I never left her side. And there's a comfort in that for me. I was immediately thinking about Hallie in the moment when things were happening to her, to think that God never left her side. He was right there the entire time. And
then they move into the forgiveness piece, and it's just
that's tough.
Hard because
it's hard to forgive little things that people do to us in life. So to forgive a monumental hurt of taking another human's life, that's a next level forgiveness that is hard for me to do. So it's even harder for you as Hallie's mom to have to do.
I mean, it's just, God, to forgive someone that shot your daughter, uprooted all of our lives, broke me and my family, and stole so much from Hallie and from all of us, from my kids. And, but then in the movie, it's like he's a child of God too, this person that did this. And it feels like such an unthinkable ask. And I know I have to get there at some point. It's just...
As we know, ultimately, the other person's not, our anger isn't affecting that person at all. It's really like binding us up and like making.
No, the forgiveness is for ourselves.
Correct.
It's for ourselves,
yes. And it doesn't mean that we're letting it go. It just it doesn't mean we're forgetting or we're saying it was okay. It's a release for us.
The other part of the movie that was driving me crazy.
And by driving her crazy, I mean she must have said it 10 times as we watched the movie.
Well, I mean, he's with God for the weekend. I swear it took him 2 days to say he wanted to see his daughter. I don't even think he asked. I'm like, oh my God. As soon as I thought I would be even remotely in the presence, I'd be like, where is Hallie? I need to see her right now. I mean, my vision is she is running towards me and I'm running towards her. Like, this is not I'm a wait and see kind of thing. Oh no, it's going to happen like immediately. And it was like 2 days. Like, dude, why is he not asking? I don't know. I think they did that on purpose. I don't know what to say to that. They did it on
because
purpose.
Because I think it's like what Dave said before. It's like we're going to see Jesus and that's going to overtake whomever it is. It's my dad or whomever. And so I think from a movie standpoint, I think the same thing. And I would, there could be, I mean, we don't understand. We cannot grasp, as they said towards the end of the movie, like Hallie's in a place where patience is not a problem. We're here on earth. We have a patience problem. That's not a problem in heaven. So she probably will stand off to the side, like, oh mom, I'm not the main feast here. Like, this
I know mine just,
and she'll probably watch that. Correct. Our human brains.
I just can't fathom that.
That we want to see Hallie, that we want to see loved ones lost. I totally understand what you're saying. So yeah, it was a lot and you've been through a lot this week and I will say this, the day that you felt the worst on Thursday where you were supposed to go to St. Louis and I had to help you to the bathroom and you couldn't get out of bed that day. I will say this, Angie is so stubborn. She still tries to work whenever she's sick. I had to message her boss like first thing Thursday morning and be like, she can't, I just had to like walk her to the bathroom. She can't get out of bed. She's not coming to St. Louis today. Look at her calendar, cancel her meetings. But she still hosted her first grief group that night, even though she felt miserable. And I knew that you would. There was not a doubt in my mind that you weren't going to make that happen for all these other mamas because that's how you show up for people.
Yeah, I was not missing it. Threw on a hat and got on the couch. And yeah, we talked for an hour and 45 minutes with these beautiful mamas. Beautiful mamas all lost their kiddos. And so our first night was just a grief share, basically sharing their story of their child loss. And it's so personal. Like the experiences of each one is unique and different, but also the pain is all the same. I don't know, as crappy as I felt just listening to their stories and hearing the pain, but also the smiles of as they talk about their kids. I don't know. That's why we're all here.
Yes. And
that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Help other people heal. And so we're in this suck, in this pain so that we can try to help other moms. Sometimes I help other dads, other siblings, whatever that might look like. So, and you did it. And eventually God will allow this illness to pass through our home. But I can just tell, like, tired, a little chippy. Like I snapped at Dane earlier. No real reason other than I don't feel good. So if I snap at you this weekend, it's just because I don't feel good. Okay. Just let's get that out of the way before we even get there. I'm ready to feel better. And I don't feel as bad as you do. You feel way worse than I do. So to try to get us out of being kind of crabby, you got anything that you're grateful for today before we get rid of this shortened episode so that we can go back to bed?
I'm grateful for you for taking care of me this last couple of days. And yeah, I'm grateful for the moms that are willing to share their story with me. And that's it. Those two things.
Yeah. I'm also grateful for the opportunity to take care of you. I actually feel, I don't know what the word is. I feel connected to you. I feel needed when I'm able to show up for you when you're not able to do things, because you are such a person that can always do things.
Since
You
you
can
said
always
that,
handle
I have
things.
10 more things for you to do.
Okay. But I do appreciate that, where I've recently talked about this with our counselor. It's like when you're like, oh, but you do the laundry and the dishes. That doesn't make me feel needed in this house. That makes me feel like just like I'm a dude that's doing laundry, whatever. But being able to take care of you or to take care of one of the kids when they're sick, I actually do feel like a sense of pride and like accomplishment when I'm able to do those things. So grateful for the opportunity to show you love in that regard. Grateful that earlier this week I hit 6 months of not drinking. And so that's just been a great journey for me to be on. And I'm not going to lie, going to Walmart this morning, they had all their champagne sitting on the left from Valentine's Day. They were trying to move it all out. And I thought, man, a mimosa sounds so good. And I just, it's, when I'm able to process the thought of like, would you want to have a drink? It's like, I would only do that to escape. And I like being present. I like having full mental clarity. I think it's allowing me to really connect with people on another level. And so I just try to pray that God continues to be good to me in that regard, so I can keep showing up for my wife and my kids well, and people around me that need that kind of help and support too. And so, yeah, I'm excited about that and grateful for it. And I think that's it for me this week. So I think we're both just going to shorten that down because we're trying to get back to bed. My head's starting to hurt and the medicine's starting to wear off and this, that, or the other. So, Ange, I appreciate you pulling yourself out of bed so that we could knock this out today. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. And now I'm going to crawl back in bed and rot in bed, like the kids say. That's the kids' phrase. I'm rotting in bed. So.
Interesting. That's one I hadn't heard yet, but I'm going to check on you regularly because I don't want you to rot in bed. But hopefully we'll both feel better in the next couple of days. And with that, we hope all of you have a wonderful week and God bless. Thank you for listening to Blended Blessed and Always a Mess. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and at blendedblessedalwaysamess.com.
Reach out to us on any of our social channels. We would love to hear from you. Have a great week.